until it hurts. Mother Teresa said this outstandingly in 1980 when she was addressing the United Nations. It's very important for us to share. It's important to look after people who are lesser privileged. They're not lesser privileged because they don't have the skills to be privileged. They're lesser privileged because they've been denied the opportunities to have those privileges. There is nothing more distasteful, disgusting, and disgraceful for India to deny the opportunity of education, of health to its children. There is nothing more derogatory, and it's a bloody farce that we worship all these goddesses when we abuse our women. I've said on Twitter yesterday that you must start executing molesters and rapists. But you know, we will pretend to be this fine democracy which has this robust judiciary, which must tolerate the kasabs and the jundals and now the kandas, and before that how many thousands of others. You can't have a country which disabuses, which abuses its women and be throbbing. I was addressing the National Literacy Mission the other day and I said, my marketing logic tells me you educate a man, you educate one person. You educate a woman, you educate four. Because she will make sure that her entire family imbibes the values of robust education. So that's all I have to say. Have a great life, smile more. Don't be stressed, you are going to die in the long run. So why do you want to rush towards, hell or heaven? I mean, hell's going to be more fun. In heaven you might, bump into Khrushchev or Yuri Gagarin or someone like that. Smile more, learn more, talk more, converse, dialogue more. Today the youth, you meet them, their only conversation was up. There's more to life than things being up or down. So that's all I have to say. I'm no Ramdev or Arvind Kejriwal who's going to tell you how to change the life of India and how to change yourself. No one gives a shit. Gallup in 1999 ran a poll across the world and they said people care for three things in this order. Number one for themselves, number two for the family, number three for the country. So that's not going to change in a hurry. I believe as someone who's risen from the ranks that it's an outstanding country we live in. It's a country which respects talent, which respects merit. We have a lot of rogues that we have to deal with who sit in Parliament and elsewhere. But that's the fun. There's never a dull moment in India. Obama and Americans and British have to worry about, pollution or... We have to worry about simple things. Will you get pinched on a bus this morning? So, life is far more fun being an Indian. And finally, being patriotic is not important. Being nationalistic is. And I'm saying, be proud of what you have. Don't, curse what you don't. Because it was never meant to be yours. Be happy with what you can do for others. Because that's what we are all about. We are not a society that can be built on individualism. We have to be a society that is built on unity. And if we can do that, your life would be very, very well lived. Thank you. Sure. So, shall I use this?
Thank you, Mr. Seth, for your words. I'm sure all of us can take something from them. I'd like to open the House to the question and answer round now.
Why do I criticize? Because there's nothing left to be happy about other than your question. Part one, why am I multi-skilled or no? Why have I got interests in other things? That's the way we were. That's the way many of us were brought up. We weren't brought up to be linear peacocks strutting about. And if you have a mind, which I hope you do, and if it is expansive enough, not expensive, you should learn a lot more. Who's ever told you that specialists are required? You're not going to be a plumber in your life. Plumbers, electricians are required to be specialists. In England, even today, the most valued professional is a general physician. It's not a cardiac surgeon. So, and you know, you're right. Why do I have an opinion on everything? Because perhaps I read everything. A, B, perhaps I can articulate that. If you can, I'll tell Arnav, he'll invite you to the next show. But be ready to be mauled because you've got to take him on. I'm sorry, my answers are reasonably short.
Comment on the Indian judiciary.
I think the Supreme Court by and large is, we have never, okay, there were the last two Chief Justices, not this one. The last two Chief Justices, certainly the last, was the most corrupt son of a bitch we've ever had. Pardon the French. Okay, the most corrupt. But here's the bloody tragedy. Now this fellow, whatever his name is, what's your name, my friend? Aluwalia? Anu? Anugrat? Okay, it doesn't matter. I'll call you Anu. Now Anu says, why do you criticize? Why don't you get your people to also criticize? No one has the balls because everyone's got an agenda. The fact is, this government knows that Balakrishnan was corrupt, that he made money hand over fist, and now what? Makes him the chairman of the National Human Rights Commission. Now here's where I'm different from the rest of your ilk. I was the first person while he was Chief Justice to say that on Pranoy's program. And Pranoy almost had a heart attack saying, we'll be shut down for contempt. We weren't. Because remember, Lord Buckner brilliantly said, Justice Warren Buckner brilliantly said that truth is the ultimate defense in contempt. That's the tragedy. So when you ask me about the judiciary, it is in a shambles at the lower level. I can tell you today, and we are on what, August the 11th? I will tell you today, every person who went to jail in Tihar for the 2G scam will be freed, will be acquitted honorably. I'm telling you this, and we will reconvene next year to see the mockery that you can make of the justice system. Because your evidence gathering is weak. Look at our situation. You have a rogue in the form of Kanda. The police knows they have to arrest him for questioning, and they allow him to flee. I will leave you with one lasting thought, because I keep telling you about reading. Read Amartya Sen's fabulous book. It's not an economics, it's called The Idea of Justice. Read that, it will hopefully change your life. In that he argues very succinctly the difference between Niti and Nyaya. He says Niti is process. So when you go to a court of law, you're following a process. But ultimately, Nyaya is what you're looking for. That's the benefit. And he argues that justice is ultimately all about fairness. So has the process that you've adopted in its ultimate analysis been fair? So many a time we adopt the process, but we are treated unfairly.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I am a great admirer of your unconventional way of thinking. As in, sir, you could have easily got placed in any of the multinationals or any of the things. But, sir, the thing that really lies within is that we are all looking for conventional jobs. We are all looking for some kind of job security or some kind of thing that makes us assured about our future. So, sir, is there always a lurking fear or a desire of failure that which prevents the youngsters from starting their own initiatives? Sir, in your mind, Council Arch India, and how should you motivate the youth to start their own initiative to work on?
I would answer that question slightly unconventionally. It's not that the youth is afraid of failure. The youth is in too much of a bloody rush for success. That's the problem. You think you have an undeniable right. Each one of you who studies in SRCC wants to be Anshu Jain day after tomorrow. You won't get there. Neither will you become an Arun Jaitley in a hurry. So the point is, enjoy your life and let it happen when it has to happen. If it doesn't happen, you will know. I mean, you'll be perhaps teaching at some IIT, so you'll know it hasn't happened. So all I'm saying is, allow yourself the dignity of time. The tragedy is, everyone is in such a rush that A, they've stopped enjoying the moment. B, they've stopped analyzing what's really making them happy. And C, they don't even realize or recognize the value or the contributions they can make. So why would you want to do that? I mean, I wouldn't. And I'm sure Councillage could have failed. So what? That's why I do 10 things. I could have gone on and continued with theatre. So it's also important for you to have more interest than one. So in case you fail in one, you don't become a depressive maniac and jump off the sea link or jump into the Yamuna, which in any case is dry most of the time, so you won't even kill yourself.
Good afternoon, sir. As in, we've been talking past 1 year, the scenario, everyone's been talking about corruption, black money, booty scam, this scam, that scam. Leaving all that apart now, I think forget corruption, forget black money, because that is something that is not going to be eradicated from our economy for a very long period of time. Even I, as a matter of fact, I become a businessman. Somewhere I will have an urge of making a lot of black money, corrupting people. So that is something that cannot be eradicated. And then keeping on commenting on such things is not going to help. It's not taking us anywhere. Forget that. I'm an 19-year-old child. What I want to know is what is the way forward. Because I really want to see India change. Because I really want people to actually respect what India is. Not because of its economy or what people are doing, but actually what is actually happening. Equality is what I'm concerned about.
You shouldn't even be bothered about that. You should bother about how you live your life. The reason why I get away till now, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, by abusing the government or abusing anyone, is I live a very, very squeaky clean life and I'm happy doing it. You pay your taxes. I have never bribed anyone. I have beaten 2 income tax officers for which I have 2 FIRs filed against me in Calcutta. Because they wanted an amount in cash in order to give me an income tax refund check. I mean, this is how bloody tragic our lives are. You live your own life honorably. And it is utter rubbish that because you want to become a businessman, you have to be corrupt. As I said, we have a fantastic country. What you will endure is a significant amount of early pain. But what you will also then gain in the process is everlasting delight. You've got to decide on the trade-off. And again, as I mentioned, in my response to the earlier question, it's the kind of human being you are. I have never ever bribed any person on this planet. Never. I have never asked anyone for any help. I have not even asked for a bloody gas cylinder connection. When I started Equus, we were without telephone lines, without landlines for 6.5 months, but we had a lovely PCO, and that guy had a stunning daughter called Maithili, and I would just go to the PCO and hang there for the rest of the day, attempting to make calls and in the meantime chatting up this hot babe. So, actually the government of India has done me a huge favor. So, you don't have to bribe. And it is an excuse of the lazy and the dishonorable to say, oh, but the system is like that. There is no system. You and I make the system. When you and I blame the judiciary, we are screwing up the judiciary. We are bribing politicians, we are sucking up to them. I've hit till date 3 politicians for stepping out of line in airport queues. Why? Because we're not scared.